But intro. It's intro time. Shush. Everyone shut up. What's going on, main characters? Welcome back to the Third Party Studios. We got our podcast going on today. Wow. Last night was a disaster for Netflix. Disney has also been on the rails with the last week of news. Ever since the election, they seem to be going everywhere, and they don't know what direction to lean into anymore. We get to capitalize on their chaos and talk about it. Let's have some fun with that. Also, Gladiator 2, next week, the movie releases in American theaters, so we are going to be talking a little bit about that, our thoughts going into it, and some updates that have come out this last week. Also, The Penguin has wrapped up, and Arcane Season 2 has come out. We have a lot of great shows in the works right now and that have been out in the market, so we are excited to talk about them as well. With me is our boy, the Cody. What's going on, man?
What's up?
What is up? We got the Cody. It's me in the studio, and I imagine you guys probably appreciate that this is probably better than what we were doing on location last week. So,
Oh, definitely, dude.
So just to set a little bit of context, because I didn't prepare the audience for last week at all, and I people aren't gonna. I go back and watch if you want to see chaos and disaster. But so I was out of town. I was originally gonna be in a shed with my laptop and a microphone. And
down by the river.
Well, and we had connection to internet out in that spot, but the Wi-Fi strength was so weak, so we had the connection but just low speed. So then we relocated into the house, and then we got some ways into it. I mean, it was functioning like on a practical level, and then the stream dropped. Something happened with the internet where it just dropped out, and so we went back to record, published it live. It was a disaster. It was still fun. I thought the content was still pretty good, and the conversations were really good. But it's me and Cody in the studio today, and so I'm gonna throw it over to you, man. How has your nerd week been going? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been playing more of the Veilguard, and we're still on this whole fucking Dragon Age thing.
That's true. Honestly, there are some streamers or some YouTube channels, some content creators who will not make a different topic video. Like they will.
Yeah, it's getting annoying.
Yeah,
and I don't really want to talk about it, and I apologize in advance. I'm a bit under the weather today, but so like the more I'm playing this game, the more and more I'm getting. I want to say, yeah, maybe a little angry, but just like almost like fucking just whatever with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it is it's just a fucking friendship simulator to where everyone's like just positive affirmations all the time, and it's getting really annoying.
Yeah,
like I won't even say I'm not on my like technically second playthrough, but I've played through like 40 hours on one character, and now I swapped to another one just to see how like different shit can be.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's the same. Like there's no variety in like the interactions between the characters at all. It's
depending on what backstory you pick, that's it. Other than that, it's just no. You can be nice, sarcastic, nice, or like firm, nice.
Well, and I know you and your interactions with like role playing games where they have like dialogue trees that are actually pretty expansive. And I know that is actually one of the main expectations of BioWare with their projects is that they actually have expansive dialogue trees that actually impact the game. So, yeah, I am a little surprised to hear that they are so dialed back as far as the creativity and the variety of interactions that you can get and like even just the relationships. I mean, they sound very two-dimensional.
Yeah, I'm meaner to you in real life than I can be mean to a person in a fictional game.
I think you're meaner to me than anybody could be to anybody else. I mean, you're just the worst. You suck.
Yeah. That's why I'm lovable. But yeah, no, it's very like people have mentioned it before. It's like HR's in the room anytime you talk to someone, or it's you can't make decisions. Like there's only like one decision that I've come across that actually affects the game. Mm-hmm. Where like I've talked about this earlier or in other podcasts, to where like you choose to like save one city or the other.
Yeah.
And like you have two companions that are from each city, and then the companion that you choose not to save their city just kind of forgives you and is just like, yeah, whatever, kind of thing. But you tried your best is basically the talk you have afterwards.
They're supposed to like when you leave, when you have to choose between characters, the consequence of that choice should be significant, impactful. Like it should actually be like, I remember back to what was it? Was it Battlefield 2? Their campaign, Bad Company. And it might have been a different. I might be misremembering. I didn't play the entire Battlefield series campaigns. I only think I remember Battlefield 2 because it came out when Modern Warfare 2 were coming out, and there was actually a jab. Like they threw jabs at Modern Warfare in the actual campaign dialogue, which was kind of fun. But there was a decision where you had to make where you had to like take a detonator from someone, and like that person had to like fall from like a ship or something into the sea and be lost forever. So I'm vaguely remember. This was probably a decade ago, so I'm probably misremembering. But your choices.
A decade ago, writing was better.
True, that's just science. That's fact. You can fact check that. But yes, the decisions you make with characters are supposed to be like impactful, and you know sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's just a fun, like which cutscene you're gonna see and then move on. But I mean, the best interactions are definitely the ones with consequence.
Right. Like I want to see the like game statistics / like metrics that BioWare gets based on like people playing the game and whatnot, because I've skipped every conversation I've ever had with Posh,
the trans character,
the non-binary character.
Oh yeah,
by them. Because their entire quest line is about their goddamn sexuality.
Yeah, and
every conversation you have with them is about it.
It is strange that like so when we were talking about this, when this was fresh news, it just come out and we were kind of going over it. There were reviewers that were talking about the game and the woke identitarianism and the whole token character who's inserted into the game just to lecture you about their journey or whatever.
I didn't think it was gonna be this. I didn't think it was gonna be this bad. Like maybe it comes up once in a while, but no, their whole entire thing is their fucking gender. And there's like one minute because she's the dragon hunter or whatever that you recruit to, hunt dragons and whatnot. Yeah. There's a quest in the main storyline to where it's like, well, we need Tosh to do this, and then like Tosh basically just like drives the dragon out of its hidey hole or whatever, and then you can have her sit on the sidelines and like grab 2 other companions, fight these dragons and whatnot. And then it's like after that story mission, it's like, we took down, instead of taking down one, we got both these motherfuckers. And people are like, yeah, thanks to Tosh. And I was like, she didn't do shit. The entire thing.
Oh my god.
You just get random praise all the time from companions for just, it's so annoying. And it's like, there's a time to where it's like, you're almost at your lowest, like something bad happens in the main storyline.
Yeah.
And the characters come together around the table, and it's like, we're only gonna fight like the hardest we can or whatever if we figure out all of our own independently emotional baggage shit. And it's basically like telling the player, it's like, you have to go out and,
give hugs to every trans person that exists in the game.
The main game is basically like, yeah, no, we have to just do missions with our companions and whatnot so they can figure their emotional baggage out.
I mean,
it's like
sorry, go ahead.
They tried to go for like Mass Effect 2, like suicide mission kind of thing, or suicide mission is the last mission. If you didn't like even like doing like the companion quests and whatnot, you can still make decisions during that companion quest where they don't like fully come on board with you and whatnot, and you can still lose them in the last mission. Well, this one just feels like, and it plainly states, it's just do missions or companions die, and they just say it outright. It's so childlike.
Play our game the way we want you to play, or
Right.
your characters die. I love that. In D&D, they have, it's called, like, I think it's called railroading is the term. It's the term I use. I don't know if that's like the like colloquial term that everybody uses, but yeah, the game master of the game will like delegate a storyline to you as the players, and you must follow this path through it. So it's just something I I empathize with.
Yeah, it's not an RPG, Veilguard. The term RPG has been just bastardized. You know, role-playing game doesn't mean anything anymore.
That's true. It is kind of like a catch-all genre now. Like if you have any level of customization to your character, apparently that's your roleplay element to it. But I mean, like,
No.
So that's
like comparing it to like Baldur's Gate 3. It's like there's so much you can fuck up and just do in the first hour of that game that will drastically change the rest of the game.
It's
an RPG.
I've really wanted to pick up Baldur's Gate 3 again and just do a kill-all campaign. Like just do a murder hobo, kill everything, and get
Dark Surge or whatever it's called.
We'll get as far as I can. And I mean, I've played the entire first act, so it's not like twice, maybe 3 times, so it's not like I'm getting a new experience out of it, but I do want to pick up Baldur's Gate 3 again.
Yeah, so I don't know, I've been playing that, and then I actually watched a few good things, so
yeah, I think we're going to be talking about that later
we'll be talking about both of them later.
Okay, cool. You know, I saw a bunch of clips this week about the Lincoln Lawyer, and when I was watching them, I couldn't remember if they were from the season 1 or 2, and they were just clips I'd forgotten existed. And so I was on Netflix the other night because the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight, and I saw Lincoln after the fight was over. I saw Lincoln Lawyer there, and I watched like the first 4 episodes, just binge watch it. And keep in mind, the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight wrapped up around midnight, like 11 something. I might be getting the timeline mixed up a little bit, but yeah, I was up pretty late last night watching Lincoln Lawyer, and eventually just tapped out, said I need to go to bed and sleep.
Wait, so you watched Lincoln Lawyer instead of the massive, just historic fight that was on?
No, I watched the fight, and then when the fight wrapped up, I watched Lincoln Lawyer till about 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock. So I was sleepy boy.
We'll be talking about
sleepy
that
boys. Sorry,
sleepy boy.
we gotta do that a little bit more. But yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking about the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. But yeah, so I watched the Lincoln Lawyer. I haven't been able to do much with gaming. You know, even with Bannerlord on Thursday, we had to cut the stream a little short because had some stuff going on. But yeah, we have Backrooms tomorrow, which I'm really excited for. That should be a ton of fun. Hoping we get a full crowd into the group. Hey.
Have you checked out Blops 6 since the season 1 dropped?
Yes, I've gotten max camo for 3 of the submachine guns, both of the melees. And I'm just like right now, grinding headshots on the submachine gun is the worst thing. Like I imagine the sniper would probably be harder, because there's no good maps for sniping in this game.
I haven't even used the sniper yet.
Well, in hardcore, you can still one-shot kill from across certain maps with the submachine gun if you're 1v1ing a sniper. Even if the sniper has every advantage, your aim is still so perfect with the submachine gun that's still possible to kill a sniper from across the map.
Yeah, there's a DMR that I'm very fond of right now.
Oh, I would love to know which one that is. But yeah, so I have gone and played some Black Ops 6. There's been almost no free time this week. It's been pretty stressful, but yeah, next week I'm going to be playing so much games, and I'm going to get caught up on one of the shows we're going to be talking about later. But I think with that,
you're going to get caught up on one of the shows that it's already going to be past the news cycle with.
Maybe. I mean, the news will come as it comes. I mean, if the show has like a really amazing episode, I imagine it'll probably be headline again. But I'm definitely behind on a couple of shows from this week. For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Understatement of the year. All right.
Just leave it to Cody to be the one that knows everything.
Well, I don't even have to necessarily get caught up that much because we're going to be doing our Gladiator 2 review next week.
That is true.
Stay tuned for that, guys. You're going to love it. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, we're so excited to watch that movie.
If the movie's amazing, we'll tell you it's amazing and help you out and walk you through it without spoilers. Then we'll get into spoilers. And if it's terrible, we'll let you know.
There's like I want it to do good because I want the era of historical epics to return.
Mm-hmm.
Because like in the mid 2000s, like 2000 to like 2006 or 7, we just got like bombarded with like great historical epics.
Well, and I think one consideration.
I want that genre to return.
Yeah, I think one thing to remember with that was some of them flopped super hard. Like, didn't Russell Crowe's Robin Hood flop really bad, even though it's actually pretty damn good?
Yeah, that'd have been 2009, and it's another case of like Ridley Scott's director's cut is like so much better.
Yeah.
Because same with Kingdom of Heaven, also Ridley Scott, theatrical release, director's cut, legendary status.
What was the movie we just watched? We did a review on a movie like a month or two ago, that we actually didn't have high expectations for, but came out of it just blown away. Was that? It wasn't Deadpool, was it? Didn't we do one more?
The only ones I remember are Deadpool and Smile 2.
Smile 2. Smile 2 we were thinking was going to be kind of mid. Like, we weren't thinking it was going to be amazing, but the acting was phenomenal. The premise was perfect. The jump scares, the way they did the scary scenes was so good. The twists in the movie, yeah. So I
like to go into these things like with very low expectations and just be like, oh fuck, that was actually really good.
Yeah.
Which is just that happened with a show that we'll talk about later.
Yep, and then we have also Angel Studios' new movie Homestead coming out in in a month as well. So I wonder,
what was that about again?
So the actor by name. I've described the actor to you, and you knew him by name. He was the actor who in Hollywood was he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's really famous. He's got a bunch of projects, but
he's that dude in like Minority Report and like all this other, like he plays like second fiddle all the time or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
His character was he was kind of exercised from Hollywood because he refused to do a kiss scene because he's married.
Right.
Yeah, that guy. I apologize for not remembering his name. He is one of my favorite actors. I think he is awesome. It's not coming to the top of my mind. He's in Tulsa King season 2, and I thought he was super good in that. But yeah, he plays the lead in Homestead, and in Homestead, apparently I've only seen the trailer. It's like a post-apocalyptic world that everyone's living in, where he owns a bunch of land, and he's still maintaining and trying to keep the land going, and trying to like farm and live there. And there's people who are trying to like steal from him or take his stuff. So
his name is Neil McDonough, by the way.
Yes, that's my dude. That's my man. But he's
that's my man.
But I think that the trailer looked really good, and Angel Studios has not under-delivered on anything I've seen them make yet. They've done a really good job of prioritizing quality, and really leaving messaging to being second fiddle, or at least making it the theme rather than the message. And the difference is that the theme is subtext, whereas the message is like just
in your face.
In your face. It's in like the dialogue. They tell you,
whipping out your dick and just laying it on the table.
You must
like, the message.
The message. It's the message. All right, I think we are adequately warmed up. You ready to get into the first story?
Oh, I'm never ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on. All right, guys, we are going to jump into our first story. We are going to be talking about what happened last night. This is on Netflix. This was November 15th when Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight aired on Netflix. That was a debacle, my man. So you did not watch the fight, right? This is just kind of like, some of the cliff notes from what happened last night, and but you didn't watch it, you didn't tune in.
I'm not into scripted combat sports.
Which fair point. So we had 3 cards going into was it 3 or 4 cards going into the main event? I'm pretty sure it was 3 cards. And they were all pretty great fights. I thought they were awesome. And it hyped me up a bit because I was watching these really good fights and I was like, damn, these two are pretty evenly matched. I wonder which way it's gonna go. They're going punch for punch with these guys, and it was awesome. I had myself rooting for Ramos in the I think it was the middleweight title fight. So it was a good, he wound up losing in a draw, like not, it wound up being a draw, and it was a really good fight. Well, after that fight finished up, they went to the women's fight, and I don't know what version or what I don't know what the term is for the weight classes.
Women?
Yeah, it's like the super lightweight or the super featherweight or something.
You rarely see two women fighting. Usually it's a dude pretending to be a woman.
Right. I just want to see. Well, so okay, so I think it's the junior welterweight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. That was, I think, the fight where that I'm referring to. At the beginning of that fight, or right before that was happening, Netflix started to crash. Netflix started to actually crash out. Like, it wouldn't load. It would kick you from Netflix. It would some people reported buffering, whereas others, the stream was just dead. You could watch other things on Netflix, but watching this live stream was actually impossible. So
I mean, I could like see that happening, because I don't know really how it works or anything, but like streaming services usually don't do live events. I mean, Prime probably does with all their like sports shit.
well, and Hulu
But
too, but
Netflix doesn't do live events, so maybe they weren't prepared for the surge of people watching that would come through.
and that's the speculation. So the idea being that, like, yes, the
Like,
Netflix
I just googled Jake Paul v Mike Tyson, and there's 1.3 million results on Bing,
yeah.
which is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, so this was definitely one of the most anticipated. I think this was the most anticipated boxing fight ever. I mean, at least in my generation. I mean, I did not grow up in a generation. This generation is not really centralized around boxing. You know, the UFC is kind of takes center stage with mixed martial arts. So like traditional boxing doesn't actually have a deep place in my heart as far as like the
Yeah, no, we grew up on like the coattails of like Mike Tyson boxing.
exactly. Yeah,
Or like he was the Michael Jordan of boxing. It's like we kind of grew up almost after Michael Jordan and then after Mike Tyson.
yeah.
So it's yeah.
So not to spoil. So spoiler alert if you haven't heard the news. Jake. So they did go to a decision, and then Jake did wind up winning that fight. So that was that sucked.
So
But
scripted, dude.
yeah.
So scripted.
Well, here's a couple of things, because that was the first text message I got on this was from my brother, who reached out. Was like, hey, did you see the fight? I was like, yeah, I watched it. But I should probably, before we jump into that, like the scripted aspect of it, I want to hammer on this the Netflix issue a little harder, because in addition to the Netflix actually crashing, you had a lot of people as a result from that canceling their subscriptions. But you also had some unsung heroes on YouTube who were able to like restream the video, the live fight. Antonio Brown was in the crowd and was actually live streaming the fight onto his, I don't know which platform he was hosting.
Antonio Brown was?
Yeah, he was hosting it. And then so he was hosting it, and then a couple of streamers on YouTube picked up his stream and started restreaming that. And then Netflix comes in with the copyright ban hammer, and like every stream, like in succession, from like most views on YouTube, and this is on YouTube again. This is not where it was supposed to be. But every stream in succession was breaking down, was being taken out one at a time and just murdered. And it was pretty cool to see. I'd not seen you've been hard shut off for copyright, because the only big one I can name off the top of my head was when Steven Crowder was copyright taken out in the middle of his big live stream for, I think it was the 2020 election. So I'm not sure which one.
CNN I think did something.
Yeah.
Whatever, but
so CNN's pretty liberal with their ban hammer too, or with their copyright hammer as well. But yeah, canceling Netflix cancel Netflix was trending on X this morning, and I explored that, because obviously I knew what was going on with the live stream for Mike Tyson and Jake Paul crashing so hard. And then I go and find these other streams, and all of them are trying to restream something to keep the show going, because while Mike and Jake are beating each other up, no one can see it. You have the most televised event on, you have the first, I think it's the first live stream event on Netflix, one of the biggest fights that's ever happened, and no one can watch it anywhere. Like, you have so many people who are now canceling their Netflix subscriptions because it was impossible to actually watch one of the biggest fights.
Which it kind of it boggles the mind that is the reason people are like hashtag cancel Netflix.
Well,
I couldn't watch this 27-year-old beat the fuck out of an elderly man.
well, okay, so a couple things that Netflix tried to like gaslight people with like troubleshooting it, trying to identify the issue. And in fairness, these are all of these like little things that people are showing. So I like on Twitter right now, I have it's check network connection, hang tight. This is like a default code for Netflix that would just populate regardless of what stream or what video was failing. So it's not like they're blaming fans directly. This is just the system responding to the event. It's not necessarily someone at Netflix being like, "Oh, it's probably you guys." No, Netflix definitely knew what was going on with their servers. They absolutely knew. But you had people, I myself.
An outrage, they say. Outrage.
I tried to reload in several times to make it happen, but they actually had, I wonder if it's in the polls here, where people are like the buffering, the video, everything's horrible. It was really bad. But I'm actually wondering if it's, this one was
Holy
funny.
Shit, there's apparently 85,000 reported issues.
Yeah, it was huge.
Just people reporting them. So you could almost like triple that, because most people don't give a fuck about reporting shit like that.
Well, you could easily triple that number. I think it would probably be even a lot more, because keep in mind,
would be. Just trying to be liberal.
right. Keep in mind, it's like, yes, you have the people who are reporting the issue, but people are watching boxing events. I mean, I'm probably the only person who was watching a boxing event absolutely alone. So like everyone else was either out somewhere or hanging out with their friends or doing something, watching boxing. Like, boxing isn't the kind of thing you typically just hang out to watch, I'd expect. But yeah, we have a rare look at the Netflix server. I thought that was pretty hilarious. And then, so Netflix also tried to troubleshoot by throwing out like a questionnaire. Like, was this your issue? Have you checked your router? Have you checked this and that? They honestly would have been better off just not populating those candid responses. That would have been much better, because people were actually pissed. I myself was actually pissed.
So it's like, so what I'm gathering right now, it's like people that don't even like have Netflix and they just like had like a free month whatever trial just to watch this. Add that on top of it says here that Netflix has 280 million subscribers worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all those people too, like just the amount of people logging on to your streaming platform at once.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I can see there might be some fucking issues.
Yeah, so it really, it was nuts. The idea that they were not prepared is what blows my mind, because even with all of these streaming platforms that have come to the forefront, last year Netflix last year when Netflix did their cancel their password sharing, and they pushed really hard for all these new initiatives, they dialed back on some of their identitarian level like decisions, like their woke decisions. Like when you go through Netflix, I don't see the for black people or for gay stuff. I don't see that. I mean, I'm not be digging deep enough, but
check out our LGBTQ plus selection.
Exactly. So like that was what Netflix used to be, and then Netflix made some decisions and some business minded decisions, like cut back on the password sharing and move some of that stuff around so that it was either not in the forefront or not as prominent. And then they started to make more money again, and they started to work. And I think my understanding is that's been pretty successful. The idea that they could not serve like on a server hardware aspect of things, not be equipped for this volume of traffic, knowing that it's Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, and you're the platform. It's not like Like HBO could have gotten this contract.
You're on the leading streaming platform.
Exactly. But like HBO, Hulu, I mean, hell, Disney Plus. I mean, any of the like Paramount Plus, like Tubi, like any of these streaming platforms probably could have done a better job hosting this than you. Like you literally, like you fought, I bet they fought tooth and nail for this contract. And they were like, we're on Netflix. It could be the biggest live event we've ever done. We could promote the shit out of it. Imagine putting the Netflix logo everywhere and having it be a big deal. And HBO comes in with their bid, and everyone, and Hulu comes in with theirs, and like ESPN comes in. Well, I don't know what ESPN does with streaming and stuff, but all of these different platforms come in trying to bid and win to be the platform to host it. Netflix wins, and then they shit the bed so violently that the next day, trending on X is cancel Netflix. That's how hard they shit the bed, was that they fought so hard to get this fight and made such a big deal of it. And honestly, it was organically going to be a big deal. So I'm not blaming their marketing team, but I'm just saying after all the work they put in to try to make this big, and then they still shit the bed so hard that everybody has a problem with it.
It is fucking hilarious that hashtag cancel Netflix because this fucking fight is so stupid. I don't think I have a whole lot of faith in people these days.
Well, it's not like it's the first time like cancel Netflix has been.
I couldn't watch Mike Tyson.
We should talk. Okay, let's move on to like talking about the scripted stuff now. So
okay, so like this was actually like it was so before they were talking about like having a no KO kind of agreement.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna knock someone out and whatnot. People were like, well, what the fuck? Are we just watching two dudes just like slap fight through something?
Well, and you know that's how it started, right? With the weigh-in. Do you know the news? Did you see or hear about the weigh-in?
I heard about a slap.
Yeah, so Jake Paul and Mike Tyson go to square. They do their weigh-ins. They walk towards each other to square up. Jake does some weird crawl thing where he's just being a little weird, a little performative. Not shitting on him for it. It's not really a problem. But I'm just saying he's being a little performative. And it's reported that he stepped on Mike's toes, and so Mike slapped him right across the face and sent him back.
I heard it looked super scripted.
It probably did. Well, I mean,
I never saw it. But.
Well, so on I don't know if it was on hot mic or just on camera, but Jake was hugging his mom before the fight, and she was pissed about the slap. So I mean, I don't know if I don't know if she's an actress or she's not in on it. I don't know, but.
Well,
yeah.
She raised two of the most douchiest guys to ever exist on social media. So
fair point.
I will give credit to the Paul brothers. They are genius when it comes to marketing.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I mean, in the modern era, they have definitely capitalized on sensationalism and dramatization. But I think that there is. As much as I despise these two, because I really do, I do not have I imagine if I sat down with them, I would still have a problem. I'd be like, they're the kind of guys who I can't wait for them to stop talking.
I don't even think you could have a conversation with them.
I really don't know that I could. Like, and that's on me. That's on me. Like, it's like I can't tolerate. Like, that's my issue. Like, you being stupid and me not tolerating, that's your issue. That's my issue. But in addition to the marketing ability, they do have genuine talent. Like the ability for Logan's podcast actually would be really difficult to host and manage and run and have organic conversations. Like he does like mainstream podcasters, they're not on Joe Rogan's level, but that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to have a good organic conversation. You're trying to avoid lulls. You're trying to avoid quiet moments, awkward moments, avoid tiptoeing around these natural things that happen organically in conversations while still keeping it entertaining and flowing. Some of it is good editing, but if you have a long form unedited podcast and all you're doing is changing camera angles, it's tough. Like you and I mean, we're awkward as shit, and we've been doing this for 2 years. So I mean,
that's why your name is Talks, because you can just ramble.
That's fair.
So there is no dead air.
That's so we have that. We have one advantage, I suppose. But yeah, like Logan has a natural talent for conversation. And I think that that's that's admirable, because it's not easy. It's not easy to have a talent for conversation. A lot of people get awkward, they get quiet, they fall to the back or the side of the conversation, unintentionally, or they start a story and get interrupted or cut off. I mean, yeah, so it's difficult to be a conversationalist. That's not easy to do. And then you have Jake, who, whatever this fight looks like, he is strong, he can punch, he is talented in fighting. It's just also you don't know how good he is because every fight he has looks like a parody of itself.
Well, he's been fighting like retired MMA fighters and shit.
Exactly. So I don't know.
So it's like no one's really takes him seriously or anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a decent boxer and whatnot. People that hate Logan Paul praise him for his WWE appearances because he's in that now. It's like he's a great fucking wrestler, but I can't stand the guy.
Right.
It's like, yeah, Jake could be fucking excellent too in boxing. It's just no one can stand these fucking guys.
Quick second, I want to give a shout out to Deanne in the chat. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated. All the love in the world. Like, really appreciate you supporting the channel with showing up to the live streams and hanging out in the podcast and on the gaming content. Really appreciate you hanging out with us. Staying on the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. So talking about the scriptedness of it. Keep in mind that there was a very small percentage of the audience of this fight that actually had a good experience, like a good view. Like, it was either buffering so bad that it was impossible to watch, or you didn't actually
want to see the metrics.
I do too.
See how many people actually watched the entire thing.
I do as well. Like, that's my main thing, is I definitely want to know how well the fight did with everything going on. Yeah, absolutely. Deanne, yeah, I see you in there. Absolutely. And then with the damn it, lost my train of thought. With the scriptedness of it. Yeah, with the scriptedness of the fight, you had a lot of people who didn't have a good angle on it because of the issues with Netflix, but the main issues that I had with the fight, and this is just my take on it, like, the other people are like, it's just scripted. You don't have to overanalyze how scripted or whether it was or wasn't. It just was, and it's just, we don't have to overthink it. Well, here's my issues with the fight. Mike Tyson, throughout the entire fight, was just a docile fighter. He came out pretty hard in the first round, and then it just calmed down and just took way too much.
Don't you kind of expect that from a dude that's almost 60?
It's Mike Tyson.
Because there's a lot of talk about stamina going into this. It's like, yeah, the 27-year-old is going to be able to like dance around and whatever for however many rounds they win.
I think that
for a 60-year-old, I'm fucking
right. Okay, so
I'm not that young, but I'm not that old, and I still like one round and just be like, man, can we just,
can you stay still?
Hit me really fucking hard so I can like go take a nap.
Well, okay, so here's what I'm gonna say to the stamina thing. Mike Tyson is a 58-year-old who is ridiculously, obtusely, and entirely in amazing shape for a 58-year-old. And I think he was like sick or something. He was wasn't he hospitalized like a couple months ago, which why they had to reschedule?
Got, like, wheelchaired off a plane or something a few months ago, so they postponed it.
Yeah, something happened to him a few months back. But keep in mind, like, you watch the training videos with Mike Tyson. You watch the training videos. In the training videos, he's hitting harder than he is in this fight. Like, he's hitting so damn hard. He's still got a dynamite punch. And he's still built like a freaking tank, and he's got that devil in his eye. Like, he's got demon in his soul. If you tell Mike Tyson at 100 years old, kill him, he's gonna freaking go. He's not gonna stop.
The dude is an animal.
He's an animal. He's a different beast and an animal at the same time. He's a monster. And so, like, you don't see any of that monster in this fight at all. Like, he's not there. That's why I think that there's a legitimate argument to the scriptedness of it. Now, here's the other take I had was when you were watching the fight, you could hear some of what the coaches were saying in the corners, and his coach was telling him, remain calm, stay back, like, don't get baited out. Like, he's telling Mike to be calmer. And I don't.
Yeah, because if anyone was gonna go off script, I could see Mike Tyson do it.
Well,
Like he gets hit when he wasn't expecting it or something in the scripted event, and he's just like, "I'm gonna take this motherfucker out."
well, and I'm saying that the strongest tool Mike Tyson has is his like animalness, like his absolute ability to be a bull, and a monster, and that killer instinct he has in the cage, and it's just like absolutely unseen. Didn't happen. Didn't show up. And you have a guy like Jake Paul. Jake Paul can be shook. He can be shook. He can be hit hard. And if you hit him hard, you could keep going after that. Mike Tyson never. I didn't see Mike land a dynamic, really big hit in that fight.
Well, I could see, like, you almost got like two ends of the spectrum here when it comes to like, I would almost say personality, like growing up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you got Mike Tyson, a hardened, just fucking beast of a dude,
A warrior.
and then Jake, yeah, warrior, and Jake Paul is just grew up in like comfiness and whatnot. It's like Mike should be able to just get into his head and fuck him that way.
Well, and also, so there was an interview before the fight where they were in Jake Paul's dressing room and they were asking him about the fight. He's like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And he's talking about how it's his dream, how he's like, he finally made it. And this is like a emotional event for him. Like not emotional, a life step for him, like an emotion, like a journey for him. And he finally made it to where he wanted to be with fighting Mike Tyson and he's going to win. And then I'm looking at Mike Tyson as he's walking out of, as he's doing his walkout. He's not doing his walkout to music. He's not doing his walkout to music. And he's coming out and he's got that devil in his eye. Like you see it. You're like, oh shit. I thought this was going to be a legitimate fight between two equals. He's going to kill this kid. I thought he was going to murder Jake. I thought that's what I saw coming out of the locker rooms and stuff. And then you see him in there and you see the cameras on him. There's nothing there. And his coaches are telling him to remain calm. And I'm just like, dude, you need to unleash that. And especially in like the last 2 rounds, because this was an 8-round fight. In the last 2 rounds, Mike Tyson,
they went all 8, of course.
Yeah.
So they get watch minutes and
yep,
viewers, and people get their money's worth. And so
here's where I'm at with the last 2 rounds. Mike Tyson wasn't there. He didn't show up. He didn't show up at all. I'm like, dude, this might be your last fight. Like, you're not gonna put it all out. You're not gonna put it all out there. You're not gonna unleash. You're not gonna try to win this. And like the last 20 seconds of the 8th round, there was almost no interactions. And then the last 5, like they both walked away in the last 5 seconds from it.
That would have been a great off-script moment where it's like, all right, we went the 8 rounds or whatever, did most of what we're supposed to do, and then Mike just like lets out the beast.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That would have been fucking, yeah. I would have gone back and watched it, but I don't give a fuck about it now.
Here's the thing about it being scripted. It really sets everyone up for disappointment. Everyone was pissed. Everyone was mad. There's cancellation calls for Netflix. No one likes this fight's turnout. Mike definitely did not build his audience or his fan base from this. And maybe he's done. He's Mike freaking Tyson. He's going to do something. He's going to keep doing projects. But
this is almost more of a lose-lose for Jake.
yeah.
Because like you say, you either get like a 27-year-old that loses to a 60-year-old or he beats up an elderly man. It's like there's no good outcome, really. The best outcome is basically almost a draw.
Exactly. And that's so, and you got to the decision, and I don't know what the scores were, just the outcome, but yeah, this definitely, I don't think this shrunk Jake's audience at all. I mean, if anything, he's like, oh, I beat Mike Tyson, I got that accolade. But yeah, you're right. It's not.
Who is Jake's audience?
I don't know. I mean, millions of people showed up for this fight to watch it.
Yeah, because Tyson.
Well, yeah.
People show up for Jake Paul fights
to see him lose
because of his opponent, not because of Jake Paul. Because he's bringing all these like legends out of like retirement.
Right.
It's like, hey, you want to box?
Right. And you know what? The Legends are getting huge paydays, and maybe that's good enough. I mean, this fight will probably be a non-thought next year. I mean, no one's going to be talking about it. It's not
No one's gonna be
history.
talking about it next week.
Yeah. I mean, the only history about it is the fact that Netflix is absolutely destroyed for their live stream performance. But
So-
that's the history.
the whole situation's retarded.
All right. I think that just about covers it for that. Let's move into our next topic. We're going to be talking about Disney and some of the drama that's been going on. And I will tell you right out of the gate, I don't like talking about the election meltdown. This is something different. So DN, yes, we believe it was. But yes, on the Disney Snow White actress, Disney Snow White actress Rachel Zegler issues apology after unhinged election meltdown. But did she even write it? So that's the headline we're reporting on from That Park Place. So Rachel Zegler came out post-election and just was unhinged, absolutely demented. But she was not standing alone. It's not like she was the only one having an absolute breakdown. And there's so many other Disney stories we're going to be getting into in this video here. So check it out. But yeah, we had Rachel Zegler posted her apology, and I'm going to scroll down to look to see if we can find the original post of what she said. But yeah, so
What was that video originally, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, she posted a video. I'm double checking, but I'm trying to find the original one here.
You might have to go to her Twitter or something. But yeah, no, it's hypocritical. It always is. It's like sending love and peace and blah
Yep.
blah blah, and I hope everyone gets along. BT dubs, fuck you, Donald Trump, and your 75 million voters. It's like, and I hope you never find peace. It's like,
Yep, I found it. So we'll read from this. We'll read from this. It's a bit of a story, so bear with us. But let me just confirm this is her. Yeah. So Rachel Zegler on X. So I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred leaning us towards a world I do not want to live in, leaning us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in, leaning us towards a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want, leaning us towards a world that is fearful. That's a good start. Very strong, very poetic. I like that you kept saying the same thing over and over again with just different endings. It made it so that you could increase your character count without actually thinking harder.
Quick side note.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick side note, going a little political. The only thing that like people mention when it comes to Kamala, what she was running or her policies, is this fucking subject about women's reproductive rights. That is the only policy that anyone ever talked about.
Yeah.
And no one either knows or cares to look into it or whatever. But Big Donnie T, back fucking 5 years ago or whatever, the last time he was in office and he didn't do all the things that they're saying that he's going to do now,
right,
said, I'm just going to leave it up to the states.
Yeah, that's where he's at. But keep in mind, the reason they're pushing that messaging is because it won them the Senate in 2022. So they just leaned into the messaging that won them the last midterms.
It's just so annoying to me. This fucking rhetoric.
Yeah, the abortion thing is absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
I'm over it.
Keep in mind, they've
it's legal in 48 states.
Yep.
Up to almost fucking birth.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
We'll keep. I'm gonna keep going with the next part. I shouldn't be shocked, but I am. I am heartbroken for my friends who awoke in fear this morning. That would be better. And I am here with you, to cry, to yell, to hug, to wax poetic on how the left continues to fail us in forging a new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. And just to finish it off, I echo Ethel Kane's statement. More than anything, may Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Yeah, I mean, that's like so much worse than what like Gina Carano was fired over.
Oh yeah, I bet her legal team is just loving the meltdowns right now.
And her show was relatively successful. Whereas this is doomed. This is gonna lose so much freaking money.
Yeah, no, the legal team's got to be loving the meltdowns because the double standard that Disney has when it comes to posting shit on social media, whether you lean one way or the other.
It's ridiculous, right? I
The
mean,
legal team is like, yeah, no. Exhibit A, you obviously fired Gina because of she didn't agree with you politically.
right. So I mean, so on the Rachel Zegler, I don't know if we said this, but Rachel Zegler, if we're just saying the name, she is the Snow White actress for the upcoming movie coming up some year into the distant future.
She has taken the crown basically as the most unlikable actress in Hollywood.
Well,
And it's a very good achievement, being that she's only 23.
True, but and I mean, she is pretty good looking. Besides that giant mole on her face,
She's all right.
She's all right. She's all right. She's fine.
Cute.
She's
cute.
She's
Also
got
cute.
yeah. She's got that going for her. That's all right. But yeah,
and she's and she's also saying like, "Hey, free Palestine," while standing next to her Israeli co-star.
exactly. That was hilarious. But you know what the news about this is that Disney has been scrambling ever since the election. They have been trying to, I don't even want to call it course correct. I want to say like just patch. Like,
Damage control. Maybe?
damage control is probably is probably better and makes more sense than course correcting, because these people still hate you. Like they hate you, they hate me. They specifically hate Cody, but they hate me when they hate me.
Oh yeah.
No,
I'm Ginger. Disney hates gingers. There's like a whole fucking sheet of ginger characters that are no longer ginger.
We got Planks joining in the chat as well. It's good to see you, buddy. Deanne,
Fuck you, Planks.
Thank you guys for being here. Much appreciated. Saw we had a few extra bodies in the stream, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're liking the content, don't forget to subscribe. It's free. It helps us grow. Smash that like button. We're going to continue into the story.
Free.
So Rachel Zegler was forced to apologize by Disney's, probably their legal. I mean, so first off, this is all behind the scenes. We don't know who is pushing for this, but
I don't think she was even forced to. I think they just took over her account and just posted an apology. I don't think this is her at all.
So you actually believe that she is not the one who posted this? Let's read and see if we can tell. Like, first off,
is there capitalization in the apology?
There's proper capitalization in this.
She doesn't post in capital letters. She only does lowercase, like a fucking 2-year-old.
So let's read this. So, hi everyone. I would like to sincerely apologize for the election post I shared on my Instagram last week. I let my emotions get the best of me. Hatred and anger have caused us to move further and further away from peace and understanding, and I am sorry I contributed to the negative discourse. Yeah, I'm immediately
peace and understanding.
Yeah, I'm immediately like, no, that's not what it is.
Have you seen? Speaking of peace and understanding, it's like, have you seen like when people go to like protests or whatever?
No, I've never seen that before. I've never seen it.
Say they're at a protest like for Kamala and they wear a Trump shirt. They could basically get beaten out of that protest.
Yeah,
you go to like a rally for Trump and you're wearing like a Kamala or Biden, whatever, and people are just like asking you questions, being kind of cordial and whatnot.
So not trying to softball what you're saying, because you're 100% correct. I do want to throw out there that it has been a minute since we have seen any incidents at left-wing like political rallies and protests and stuff like that on the level of like what happened to Andy Ngo, where he got almost killed. So, and I think like when you look at online and you find videos of what's going on over there, it's usually people blocking the camera or shouting them down. It like, I have not seen like a lot of active Antifa or like the militant left inside of like those political events for a while. Now, I might just not be seeing it. It might be out there and I'm just not seeing it. But I do want to throw out there in good faith that, hey, they've changed their tactic from trying to kill you to just returning to being absolutely annoying.
When have you ever gone for good faith?
I'm always good faith. All right, let's so
But yeah, I mean, it's it's such hypocrisy. Like I'm waiting for the day where like Gary from Nerdrotic or Chris Gore from Film Threat and whatnot, because they got a lot of insider shit when it comes to Hollywood, and they say all the times like all these people come up to us and like basically is like, yeah, I watch The Drinker and I watch your streams and blah blah blah, and we're all in agreement, and it's just in an industry where you can't go a certain way. And
so
I'm waiting for the day where they can actually like disclose this information.
Planks brings up a good comment in the chat real quick. He's like, one of the reasons you aren't seeing rioting yet is that it's cold outside. I love that point, mainly because it reminds me of like what Jordan Peterson did at his events, where he was getting protested at, so he decided to move all of his events to 8 in the morning. So
they're not awake yet.
So they're not awake yet. They can't protest.
That's true. The summer of love happened in the summer.
It was, yeah. Summer's.
We're not gonna have a winter.
That is one more reason why I just hate summer. It's like, let's see. Let's just finish out that apology because we got more Disney stories to get into on this segment, so I want to make sure we cover them. This week has been emotional for so many of us, but I firmly believe that everyone has the right to their opinion. It's not written by her. It's not.
No, it's not. That's bullshit.
Even when it differs from my own, I am committed to contributing positively toward a better tomorrow. That is no mainstream personality believes that everyone has the right to their opinion. That is not true. They don't believe that. If you watch any mainstream left-wing pundit and you ask them and you push them on this topic, it's not real. They don't believe it. They like politics, man.
No, it's the tolerant left.
Yeah, it's politics,
except
man.
for if you have a different point of view.
It hurts. It hurts so much to like.
It hurts so much.
Think on it. All right, let's move on to the next story in this. Bob Iger surrenders on Disney's anti-Elon Musk campaign. TWDC returns to X platform advertising. That is huge. We have a question coming in from Deanne. Yes, please fire away your question. Let's see. So, in addition to Disney, just break it down real quick. We have Comcast and IBM are returning to X after the ad boycott. You might remember the ad boycott. So the audience might remember the ad boycott from back when Elon Musk was in an interview and he was asked about advertising on his platform. He's like, if you want to bribe me with money, go fuck yourself. And I love that. That was an amazing and very powerful response, because one thing I like about
one of my favorite moments of the internet, to be honest.
Absolutely. That was definitely in the upper echelon of superior internet moments, for sure. But keep in mind, so Elon Musk when he bought Twitter, he bought it for way more. He bought it for way more than it was worth. Because remember, he inflated the stock market value by buying in so hard and then talking about it. And so the stock market value was inflated. And then he added on a price to it that was so high that the shareholders, or I'm sorry, the executives, the board of directors at Twitter, previously Twitter, if they had said no to such a powerful offer, they would have probably been held legally liable for for the financial damage that they would have done to the stockholders for losing out on that offer.
Would you value Twitter at $43 billion?
No. I mean, it's technically it was bought for that. So I think there's an argument. There's a legitimate argument and question to be asked about what it is worth, because the last time it was on the market or valued, it was valued at $44 billion. Now, if you look at the assets, the employees, the name, the equipment, and everything that it takes to run Twitter, no. But with Elon Musk behind the wheel, and keep in mind, X is absolutely annihilating these other streaming platforms in just the metric of freedom of speech. I want to get to DM's question real quick. She asked, "Have you ever streamed Destiny?" So I have watched Destiny. And when the
Oh my god, dude.
I know, and post assassination attempt, he was very big in the news and he got banned from Twitch. We did cover that story. So yes, we have talked about Destiny. We have watched and observed Destiny's interactions online.
And we've said he's entitled to his opinion. We don't have to like it or anything, but he has the right to voice it out or whatever.
Yep.
I can't stand that guy.
I will.
No, he has the right to do whatever the fuck he wants on the internet.
I can't pretend like I definitely didn't feel Schadenfreude when he was banned. But at the same time, I do believe in, like, I think you have a lot of people who are middle ground on freedom of speech, and I think I am probably much further towards free speech absolutism, where I don't believe that there's any words or combination of words that exist in any context that should be illegal or invoke punishment at any scale. Now, so
definitely not illegal. It should be almost up to like
social interaction.
Like the person or people that you're interacting with, or like just putting your shit out, like airing out your laundry or whatever online. It's up to them basically whether or not.
Well, and so agree.
You should be heard technically.
Yeah, like if you own a platform, it's your platform, but also at the same time you have protections that you are acquiring those protections because you say that you are a non-editing publisher. Or I'm trying to remember what the difference. You're a platform or a publisher. A publisher does not acquire the protections. A platform does have the protections. You have a lot of publishers claiming to be platforms, and it's not being.
This is the other quote that that Elon just put out. He did an interview with MSNBC or whatever.
Yeah.
It's also talking about the advertising and whatnot, and he quoted The Princess Bride.
That was a really good quote. Yes, absolutely.
He's like, offer me money, offer me power, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. That was such
you cannot bribe me, dude.
Well, and that was, I mean, that was such a powerful like moment in that interview that the literal interviewer had no idea how to interact with that. Like, he was broken. Like, someone saying something so meaningful to themselves to your face. I mean, it's hard to bounce back. Like, how do you move on to the next question when something so impactful hits you in the face? And so relatable too, with like the Princess Bride.
Just dude on earth right now, just standing on principle.
Exactly. That is insane. Like, you wouldn't expect, like, this is why I think the plot of The Boys is such bullshit. Because literally in current day, the most powerful man in the world, or most rich and one of the most powerful men in the world, is literally just like behaving. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's worse behind closed doors, and I haven't met him personally, but he's behaving as if he's a freaking hero of freedom and I think that's amazing.
African American, we can say, has got more of a grasp on freedom than most Americans do.
I know this conversation's getting kind of wide, but I would say, like, in like what we're talking about, but just I'm having fun with it, so let's keep going. But it's Raven Simone. She was the star of That's So Raven on the Disney Channel. She was doing an interview with, I think she was doing the interview with Oprah. It'd probably be an easy enough interview to find, but I think it was Oprah. Where
I think I know what you're already talking about.
Yeah, they were talking about being African American, and Raven's like, no, I'm American. I am American. Like, I was born in America, and I'm like, I that is the sentiment that I most relate to with the African American community, is when
you might be getting them mixed up with either Denzel or Morgan Freeman. It's really hard because they're all so based.
No, it's
what Raven was saying was making one of her characters gay because she's gay.
No, she's definitely a leftist. She was on The View for a while.
Raven was like, why does she have to be gay or some shit? It's like, just because I'm gay. It's like, it's a character pretty much.
Right, but her conversation with I'm getting the conversation correct with the with this interview. I just don't know who the host and what the show was, but I know that it was Raven Simone who I know it was Raven Simone who said she says, I am an American, and doesn't identify with the term African American. And that's how I see it. I'm like, if you're I'm American. If you're African American, there's a difference. But if you're American too, like, let's be American together. Like, you could be black and American, I could be white and American. But if you're something different, I didn't make you that. I mean, let's just call each other what we are. Like, we're best buddies.
It's not an ethnicity or anything. American is a mindset.
Well,
basically,
it's the same thing with like Mexican American. I was like, no, you're just American, right? You're just like me. Like, we're the same. Like, you come from a different place, but I'm not French American or like Spanish. I'm not Spanish American or Norwegian American, and you're not whatever world gingers came from.
No. No,
Did
you're
gingers
right.
come from a different planet?
She's an American,
exactly,
but not an African American.
And I loved hearing that. Like, she has a lot of.
Would you call me a Norwegian American? Wherever my most prolific background might be.
That's the frustration, is that they don't say like white or European, like European American. I've heard that term before, but they just assume that all white people are American and that anyone of a different color is something else. And we're not. We're all, I mean, if you're American, you are just American. It's like, if you're African, you're just African. It's like,
you're American.
Yeah. Sorry. I know we're going off on kind of like a tirade of like ethics and like
it happens, dude.
It does happens. But I want to return to X, because we were talking about its like valuation and how much it was bought for. Elon Musk invested $44 billion. I would be surprised to hear that he would have expected to get his money back. That would surprise me if he thought he was going to get $44 billion back out of this after he artificially inflated that value himself. And then he takes the company private. But all the decisions he's making to improve X, he could run X as the perfect platform. But you had this entire atmosphere of other billion-dollar companies refusing to do ads on his platform, like actively antagonizing the platform, calling him and the participants on X like racist or homophobic or all sorts of different things, attacking freedom of speech through calling X these things. I mean, you had a very, very powerful attack. You cannot underestimate the damage that this ad ban, is that what the term they used? Ad boycott. Okay, so the ad boycott, you can't underestimate the damage that did to X as far as like just whether it's valuable or not as a platform. But
like financially, yeah, probably.
Exactly. Now, so I mean, Elon Musk could run that company at a deficit for 100,000 years. He's just that freaking rich, and he could run at a deficit financially.
Getting
forever.
rid of 85% of the workforce at X/Twitter,
yeah,
definitely helps save a pretty penny.
I just know that after the podcast ends and someone, like, we post the video and someone clicks on it, they're gonna be like, I clicked on a Disney story to hear about Rachel Zegler. What is happening? Why are we talking about African American and American? It's like, why is that a conversation point? It's just so fun.
Hey man, authenticity is the currency of today. So
fair enough. But yeah, so the ad boycott, if it's dialing back, because I think in addition to these three, whatever you think of it, Burger King was also on there, and I think there were more. And Elon Musk won that lawsuit against, I think it's GARM. I think GARM is the acronym for it. Some big. Yeah, some big.
European company.
Yes, exactly. It was basically a governance board from the European Union. If I understand it correctly, I'm trying to get this right, but it was basically a governance board from the European Union, basically making recommendations to advertisers where to put their advertising dollars. And X and Tesla were getting absolutely wrecked by them. Like, they had it out for Elon, and it's very much political. And so it's good that Elon Musk crushed them in a lawsuit. And I think that they're disbanded or are being disbanded. I don't have that article here, so I won't say definitively one way or another, but I'm pretty sure something like that's coming.
I do have to acknowledge this from Planks in the chat about Elon and Vivek running Doge.
I am...
We're all very, very excited about how that's going to go down.
I am cautiously optimistic. I think it's
I'm
going.
super excited.
I am too. I want that to work exactly how we all think it's going to work. And actually, just to get caught up on chat, so we answered Deanne's question about Destiny. Let's see, Planks. He bought it for more than it was worth. Yep, on paper. That platform is a public square tool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, just to get caught up, yes, X is definitely the public square. Elon understands its importance, so it's definitely important culturally for X, and other social media platforms need to get on board with this idea that you have like freedom of speech in America, and that while you do not have to facilitate that, people don't like to be curtailed. Like, well, I get, okay, that's not true. There's about 70 million people who like to be curtailed. The govern me harder daddy faction of America. But the rest of us would prefer to be able to say what we think when we want to.
It's always interesting seeing like people born in other countries or whatever, they come into America and they're more constitutionalists than most Americans.
Oh, it is frustrating how, yes, I agree. Let's continue by going into the Bob Iger and the Q4 earnings call that happened the other day.
I still got a few stories to go. Yeah.
So Bob Iger
we'll go over time. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we got all day. Go all day. Bob all day. Bob Iger avoids Snow White, Epic Universe, and questions on ideology in Disney earnings call, which is strategically. I'm mixed on this because you probably want to let your consumers and especially your shareholders know what direction you're taking the company. However, if you have not figured out the answer to those things yourself internally as like on a company culture wise thing, you're probably not going to be able to answer that question satisfactorily to anybody. Snow White is obviously what we were just talking about with Rachel Zegler. The questions on ideology, like none of these people changed their mind. Like none of these people believe anything different. Like they were all saying what they believed from their heart. Like, does anyone think that Mark Hamill?
I don't even say that they believe in it or have even like a basic understanding of what they're even saying. It's basically like talking points that they're just like been fed throughout their lives and they just like mimic it. It's like instead of learning in school, you're just like memorizing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of learning how to think, so you're just like memorizing shit and spelling it out instead of thinking about a certain thing. But anyway.
One of the quotes from the Bob Iger says, on the creative front, our renewed strength is a result of the expansive work we began 2 years ago to restore creativity to the center of the company, Iger said. And honestly, I think that that's just so disinfreaking-genuous. They were also talking about the successes with Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine. The idea that Disney could take any credit for Deadpool and Wolverine, like you slap your logo on it and you let Ryan and Hugh cook and say, what's the director's name? Is it Sam Levy? Oh man.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
So you let those three cook and they created something that was amazing, culturally impactful and significant, hilarious. Definitely action packed.
What was really weird is that Ryan Reynolds actually, respected the fan base.
Oh yeah, that's like walking into church like in a Speedo. It's like you just can't do that in Hollywood. He probably got a bunch of sideways looks.
What kind of analogy was that?
The off the top of your head kind. The one you're not prepared to give.
It's like, when you walk into church in Speedo and everyone gives you a look, it's kind of like that.
Like that one, like that one time that happened.
As one does.
But yeah, they didn't talk about the Rachel Zegler thing that happened with the election stuff, and it's smart to avoid it, and at the same time, you're not really giving anybody a direction on where you're taking the company. The idea that you're taking the Inside Out 2 is probably the only financial success they can actually claim was as a result of their own internal workings.
You know what I heard about the marketing around Deadpool, Wolverine, and Inside Out 2?
Talk to me.
There wasn't any political agenda around them. They weren't attacking fans. They weren't saying this is like strong for females or the non-white community or anything.
Yep.
There was none of that during any of the marketing cycles between these two movies.
Well,
And even in the movies themselves, they don't fucking pander or like bring up the message
the message
at all. It's just good, clean family fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
especially in Deadpool Wolverine.
especially in
very, clean,
Deadpool.
very family friendly.
Very much. Yeah, that was made for audiences of all ages, baby to adult, baby to fossil.
You had a baby pool in there.
Baby pool. Oh, there was baby pool. Yeah, so you did have someone to relate to. I forget about baby pool.
And kid pool was the most racist one, I think.
I love seeing cutscenes and stuff coming out from the Deadpool Wolverine just as they kind of sprinkle out into the ether organically. I just love it. It's like so much fun. I love the one where
basically rewatch that movie on YouTube Shorts alone.
Yeah, if it turns out that if you don't make your creative project, creative being used ironically, if you don't make it a lecture about identitarian politics, might be a success. It has about the same chance of same
thing that Jack is saying in the comments. Same marketing that happened with Black Ops.
Yeah.
Did you hear any cringe, woke, blah 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 around it?
I'm not delusional enough to think that it's not coming, but you're both correct. Yes, they did not push they did not push identitarianism inside of Black Ops 6. Like even like now you have a variety of characters, but they don't have like the amputee running around the map anymore. They don't...
Yeah, even in the season pass that came out, the battle pass that came out, it's like I don't see any bullshit in this.
Exactly.
It's just Call of Duty fun.
Exactly. Pretty dialed back. Talking about continuing with our last story on Disney, Nelson Peltz was introduced Elon to Donald Trump over Disney issues. Now Iger races to make House of Mouse more pro-Trump. So this is on the back heels of the election. This is what we were talking about with the Q4 earnings call, where it's a result of it all kind of came from the election. All of these huge companies are course corrected. You know, you have The View is looking at bringing on pro-Trump hosts onto The View, right? And you have all these major news platforms who are just I
would love to have The View be like the opposite of Piers Morgan Uncensored.
What do you mean? It is like it currently is.
No, where they bring on it's like Piers Morgan is more like a common sense platform, whatever. They bring on a couple of like freak shows that just like yell and gab or whatever. But on the View side, it would be the freak shows that are yelling and gabbing, and they bring on someone with common sense.
That actually. That's what they do. Like, no matter how you told me about this was gonna be what they do, because they're all freaking freak shows that just bring on people like Ted Cruz or Vivek or they had Dr. Phil. They had all like they do bring on people who kind of are able to talk intelligently, and then
I
just
don't see it as much because it's The View. So
fair enough. But Family Guy, I think, had the best parody of it, where they're just like they show The View and it's just these women squawking. Like it's like hilarious. Family Guy hit it right.
I just view it as like what is it, like the parents or teacher or whatever in Charlie Brown. It's just wah 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 wah.
Yeah, seeing reactions about it is definitely the best thing. If you don't want to sit down and watch this stuff for an hour, you could definitely just watch some shorts and get some good entertainment out of it. So yeah, definitely Disney is still in the political eye. I think that people who loved what Disney was doing with their platform over the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years are probably not going to trust them now that they're saying that they're going to have internal conversations about moving more pro-Trump. I mean, they were scrambling to find a single person in their company who had any positive or even like lukewarm take on Trump.
How about just make good entertainment? It doesn't have to be political.
Well, so the audience that loved what they were
entertainment company.
The audience that loved what they were doing, now they probably won't trust them because they're putting in like the pro-Trump people and giving them some air so that they can like come up. And then you have everybody else who's watched the last decade of absolute garbage pour out of the sewer pipe that is Disney. and they don't like it for the quality. So this is probably
Well, it's
like they were better off leaning into it and doubling and quintupling down.
Just be apolitical. It's like, I don't want to see mega in a bunch of fucking shit that comes out either.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I don't want to see one side or the other. It's just make me invested in said entertainment. I don't really care about your politics whatsoever.
Well, and you know, we talked about this.
I'm not going to support it more because you're more in line with my politics.
Right.
I'm going to support it if it's good storytelling.
It came up in an earlier segment where I brought up like Angel Studios being really good, and there's other studios that do it. There's other studios that do a good job of creating a politically neutral like content, and you're right. That's exactly what I would like.
Well, Angel Studios did that with Sound of Freedom. That was apolitical, but somehow it turned into a political fucking nightmare.
Well,
It was a story about child trafficking, and it became a right-wing thing. For some fucking reason.
Well, I don't know if it's a surprise why it came. Like, I don't suppose it's a surprise why the left's reaction was so violent towards being called. I mean, it being made. I don't suppose it's surprise. I don't think it would surprise anybody. But all right, we covered Disney. I think we covered a lot of topics in Disney. Let's talk about
some TV shows.
Yeah. Oh, we still have Gladiator 2.
Oh, this will be a quick one.
Yeah, it won't take a long time.
Speaking of P. Diddy's house and
exactly. Yep. We got another topic to get into. We're going to talk about Gladiator 2. Let's move into that topic. Gladiator 2. We pulled up this old story because so the movie releases next week. We are going to be doing a review on it, so stay tuned. Tune in next week for that. That should be a ton of fun. One way or another, we'll tell you how we'll break it down for you guys. We'll give you our thoughts and we'll tell you what we think and why we think it. But this seems like one of Ridley Scott's projects that is definitely not going to be successful.
What would you consider the last good Ridley Scott movie?
I couldn't even tell you. I don't know how they're timelined, so I couldn't tell you like the most recent one that I've enjoyed. But I could tell you like the last.
It just comes to your mind.
I mean,
you mentioned it earlier. It's my pick.
Well, was Ridley Scott involved in Covenant? Because I know you don't like Alien Covenant, but I liked Alien Covenant.
Was your favorite scene Michael Fassbender talking about figuring himself?
Yes. No.
Okay.
No, I haven't watched it in a while. That's just the most recent that I thought was good, and I don't have like a synopsis of the movie like ready to break down right now, but I will say that I do remember enjoying the Covenant or like Alien Covenant. I didn't want to see Romulus. The trailer hard threw me off. I was absolutely out. The Evil Dead.
Well, he didn't direct that one. Either.
No, yeah, and the fact that it was made by the creators of Evil Dead. I was out. I was not at all interested. I didn't want to see a movie made by them. I wasn't even remotely going to entertain the idea of going and seeing that.
Yeah, it's kind of why like Quentin Tarantino, where he's only made like 10 movies.
Yeah.
Where Ridley Scott made bangers back in the day, and then he's made more shit after the turn of the century.
Right.
Where it kind of dilutes his catalog to it's like, was he even that good?
Well, the news surrounding the story is that Denzel Washington, during an interview, revealed that he had a gay kiss scene in the movie that had been cut out. And this is the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, I know where this is going. I see the writing on the wall. There's definitely going to be a lot of messaging, a lot of modern equivocation to like modern politics. There's definitely going to be like power is going to be your main talking point, and you're going to use the modern interpretation of power.
Well, when it comes to history these days, everyone is basically hell-bent on saying that Rome and ancient Greek civilizations were gay as fuck.
Well, and I don't think that's
their main talking points.
Well, and I think they were more accepting of it before the collapse, but I mean at the same time, it's like, why is that relevant? What is the relevance of that to this story? Like, is that character building? Is that like is that character building? Is it meant to like?
Well, it's character building because he's gay, and that's all that matters.
Right. I forget. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's the only thing that you need to have in your personality.
That's your identity. It's who you are. It's who you are.
That's who you are. You're gay. You're nothing else.
Well, so we could talk about it. I think we're just gonna play the discussion. It's pretty short. We'll just play the discussion. Let me know what you guys think.
Your character makes a few remarks throughout the film about having a relationship with other men in the film. So I wanted to ask, how gay is the Roman Empire?
The entire empire, or I actually kissed a man in the film, but they took it. They cut it. I think they got chicken.
I was going to ask because I just heard about the Paul and Pedro forehead kiss that apparently got cut from the movie.
I'm not sure about that one, but I kissed the guy full on the lips, and I guess they weren't ready for that yet.
Your character.
Well, the idea that they were.
I can kind of get Denzel's point here, like saying it's like they forced me to kiss this guy on screen, and they didn't even put it in the fucking movie.
Well, I mean, I don't know where Denzel lines up on any of that stuff, and I imagine being in Hollywood, it's probably like more. Honestly, it's not really like it's ostracized anywhere anymore. Like I don't have
no one really gives a shit about the gays.
Exactly, it's not a big deal. The idea, my concern is that whenever it gets brought up as like a key point in the movie, or there's contention about it being in there or not in there, I think I'm seeing is you have a position on making sure that is included, and it's important to you that is included, not for like the betterment of the story, but because tokenism, you must have gay representation in this movie. It's not about the story, it's about making sure that is in there. And
well, the context that I got was that it was more of like in context of the scene of him kissing another dude on the lips.
Yep.
Was it's more of like a power play or whatever, like you're about to die kind of thing.
Right.
Smooch stab kind of.
Right.
Yeah. That's the context I got. I haven't seen it, obviously.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we'll have to go watch it, and we'll let you guys know what we think about it. But
the Brits got to see it.
Yeah,
we haven't yet.
The other thing about it is that when you talk about like the Gladiator 2 trailer that released last summer, they had the hip hop song, the rap song inside the movie trailer, and everyone was criticizing that. It's just like your marketing, you were on the wrong track. They course corrected a bit, and so I'm glad for that. And then they wrote in a gay kiss scene, and I'm like, okay, is that making the show better? Is that improving it? If it is, leave it in. But if yeah,
I mean, it's a banger of a song, but it's they started doing this in the late 2000s,
yeah,
before 2010, where they started modernizing the historical epics.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
Like, you can see it with like you remember, was it The Eagle?
Yes.
With Channing Tatum and whatnot?
Yeah, I liked that movie too. I enjoyed it.
It was all right and whatnot, but it was very modernized, where
Yeah.
everyone was talking like they just came out of the fucking like they just came out of college in 2009 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it was a college play with Hollywood production value.
Yeah, instead of actually being like a historical epic.
Right.
And so like throwing that song in there,
Yeah.
one, it doesn't add anything, even though it's a great song in my opinion.
And with everything going on in Hollywood right now, and honestly, I think Hollywood is trying to reorient themselves to what their audience wants. And I mean, some are, in fairness, some are, and some are absolutely never going to. But like this scene with Denzel Washington, if it improves the story, leave it in. But if like I think the reason they cut it out, when Denzel Washington says, I think they chickened out, it's like, was it in there to improve the story in the first place? Like, if it was, leave it in. Like, this is what like the people who care about the quality of the story want. It's like, if it will improve the story, if it will improve the relationship between these two characters, put it in there. If you're just trying to put a token gay scene on the screen, then pull it out. The fact that you pulled it out tells me the latter.
It didn't matter to begin with.
Exactly. So you just did it because modernization, like identitarianism, tokenism. Like you're just filling the movie with whatever checks the boxes. And this is the last movie I want to see this happen to, because what would be amazing for me is we go to the movie next week, we sit down and do the review, and we come to you, the audience, and we tell you that was a masterpiece. It didn't live up to the first, nothing could, but it was amazing. Definitely worth seeing in theaters. That's what I want to tell you guys next week. But it's completely on Ridley Scott and the rest of his team. I don't have high expectations for this movie. I do think that there is some subtext here about identitarianism being in the movie. I did not like it. Like Denzel Washington saying they chickened out leads me to think this scene was not going to improve the movie, and it existed, and yet it existed. So I don't think they're learning their lesson at all.
There is another scene I heard about where it's like an army, men doing their thing, and
Yeah.
there's one chick in it, and she gets pointed out.
Did they make her?
by, like, the
Did they make her
They
lame
make
and
it
gay?
so other-
Well, that would be like
oh my god.
that would be like the Ride of the Rohirrim. Be like Eowyn, Ride of the Rohirrim.
I got news on that too. Well, I'm not going to talk about it on here. But
Okay. I'll have you tell me about it. We are going to move into our last story of the day. We're going to be talking about the Penguin.
good shit.
We're going to be talking. I should have the right page open. We're going to be talking about the Penguin. We're going to be talking about Arcane. So the Penguin just finished up. It has season finale, and there's a lot of discussion about what the future of the DC, what the future of this DC universe looks like, with the fact that the Colin Farrell's Penguin exists in the same universe as Robert Pattinson's Batman from the Batman Project 2022. Then you have Arcane, which just started releasing new episodes for season 2, and I'm going to be talking about season 1. Cody can give his thoughts on how season 2 is faring. But let's talk about the Penguin.
Doesn't do homework.
Fair enough. I had a lot going on this week. But let's talk about the Penguin. So it finished up to, it seems to be generally amazing, like really high acclaim. Is that where you place this show, Cody? Where do you place this in history amongst the great TV shows?
The best thing I have seen all year.
Okay, how does it stand the test of history? Like, if we put this show back in like 2013, 14, like, does this show hold up to some of the other big wigs that are
go back in the day where it's like peak Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and whatnot?
Exactly.
It's up there, bro. It's so fucking good.
I think that. So just to circle back
That you couldn't get into it kind of blows my mind.
Right. To circle back to my question on it was I think that this show probably would have performed better in that generation of content. If it was made to the exact same quality, same character, same script, no changes to the show, I think if it existed in an atmosphere of high quality television, I think that would have fed into it. Because
You're also talking about a time before the DCEU was just obliterated.
Right.
Because around that time, the only thing that came out was Man of Steel, which I actually really like.
Yeah, I had a positive.
And some people on the internet do not.
I had a positive take on Man of Steel. I thought that was really good too. So but my opinion on this is kind of like when those shows, Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, The Wire, Game of Thrones, etc., the list goes on. When all of those shows were being talked about, it was very culturally impactful. You had Game of Thrones fans talking about the newest episode of Game of Thrones because it was all episodic releases. So you didn't really have the binge model, like, necessarily. Or at least it was not mainstream for the binge model. When you had these releases, you were talking about all of these shows at once, or you were saying, I loved Breaking Bad. Have you also tried this? That specific question, I think, would have lended a lot to this show. And you're right. To your point, Warner Brothers has lost a lot of faith with their stewardship over the DC IP. Yeah, so it definitely has. It definitely had to earn its way into the faithful eyes of the audience.
It's one of those things where it's like, all right, it's a spin-off. All right, so we had fucking plenty of spin-off Batman shows.
No shortage.
All sucked ass.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will about Gotham or whatever. I think it sucked.
I thought it was I think it's a CW TV show, and I think
exactly.
I think
it sucked.
it's probably the best among them. At the same time, there was the first 2 seasons I thought were really good. But as they started to be like, oh shit, we killed that character, what do we do? And bringing him back to life, that stuff started to really frustrate me. And it shows the lack of talent that the CW has for writing, because they can only bring back from the dead characters they've already killed off for the payoff. So, it just shows
I like. It's like 2021, 2022, whatever. No, was it last year the Batman came out? 21? I don't remember.
22. Batman.
COVID fucked up everyone's timeline. Anyway.
Right.
So I like the Batman. I think the Batman is. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm gonna go on and say that the Batman is my favorite Batman movie.
Okay.
And so, like, this coming out, it's like no one gave a fuck. I didn't care for it. It's like, why the fuck are you making an off-brand show about a side character? Yes, Colin Farrell's great and whatnot, but no one gave a fuck about this coming out.
Well, and the Penguin is one of my least favorite like DC villains, right? Like I like Poison Ivy.
I mean, the last one you got was Danny DeVito.
Right. Well, I like the Joker is the villain. Like if you look at the villain archetype, how you might have, you would have to recategorize the genre of villain to make sure that Joker is at the top. The Joker character is so perfect for an antagonist. And so
since Heath Ledger done it, it's been overdone, in my opinion.
I think Jared Leto's interpretation of the Joker was absolutely awful. People who like Jared Leto's version of the Joker, we got beef.
Did I say Jared or did I say Heath?
You said Heath, and then I followed up by contributing a comment about you're right, and here's an example. Jared Leto's Joker was garbage. He had like 10 minutes of screen time, and I still found a way to absolutely hate his character. His
and if you didn't know he was crazy, he had damage tattooed to his forehead.
Well, and he had the freaking why was he in the
foreshadowing?
Why was he like swimming in the rainbow chocolate sewer factory? And why is that like? Did that make him insane? Did that make him like mutated? Like,
oh shit, I barely remember.
it was horrible, man. Like, first off,
I will say though, the Suicide Squad's trailer was fucking baller.
Sure, it was.
It had a very slow rendition of "I Started a Joke."
Yeah, well,
it was great.
Well, and you had Will Smith.
The movie was shit.
Will Smith too as Deadshot. I thought was actually a pretty good casting.
Some kind of Suicide Squad.
Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, I thought was really good. I think Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn is better than Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. From the Joker 2. Now, that being said, I'm not singing Joker 2's praises at all. I'm just saying I really liked Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, anyway. So, like...
yeah, you idiot.
No one cared about the show when it came out. First episode, fucking banger. It's like, all right, I guess I'm sticking with it. And everyone is basically expecting the show to shit the bed throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't. And I think the last 2 scenes of the final episode of this show almost puts it in like god tier status.
Wow,
it's so fucking good.
Because it's not.
I want to talk about spoilers, but you don't know fucking anything about the show.
I mean, don't talk about spoilers for the audience benefit, not for me. I mean, you know that I am able to literally enjoy a show that has been entirely spoiled.
Yeah, but it's just like you won't appreciate it enough or whatever.
Yes, I will. But, I read all of Attack on Titan's manga well before Attack on Titan's like actual like caught up with the anime, which took them like 6 years to get caught up on the anime.
No, I'm saying it won't be like a good discussion talking about the series as a whole or anything.
Gotcha.
But it's basically like, you know, you got the crime family drama and whatnot, and it just builds throughout the whole series of like you're rooting for Oz even though you know he's kind of a piece of shit.
He's the bad guy.
Like he's a bad guy that happens to be the protagonist of the story.
Right. Which is very
And,
interesting. And that's my
It is, but a lot of people go the anti-hero route when it comes to villains being the protagonists.
Right.
Where it's like they become sympathetic and all that shit. Oz
he doesn't.
does not.
I do know that
you
much.
you actually come out. I think the showrunner actually mentioned this before the series came out. It's like by the end of the series, you're gonna fucking hate Oz, and boy, do they do it well. It's like you're rooting for him throughout the series, like just trying to win or whatever.
Mhm.
And by the end of it, you're just like, I can't wait for Batman 2, and they just fuck Oz up.
Oh, that'll be good. I mean, so that's kind of the main news about the finale, is that it does kind of lend to this idea that there's going to be much more to come with this character and with Robert Pattinson's Batman. Honestly, I think Joaquin. Go ahead.
Colin Farrell signed on for 3 movies before the first one.
Colin Farrell did?
And
Or
yeah.
well, he hasn't been
Colin
in a
Farrell.
movie.
He plays the Penguin. He's in the first movie.
There's no Penguin in the. There's the Riddler in the Batman. They don't show the. They don't.
Bro. He's in the movie. You know the iconic car chase?
Oh, yep. You're right. You're right. Right. I slipped on that one. That's my banana peel. I stuck the landing though. You're right. You're right. No, but I stuck the landing. We're good.
Yeah, no, he signed up for 3 movies. It is confirmed. I don't want to actually say confirmed, but it's he said that he has like 5 or 6 scenes in the second one written in, but I don't even think it's gone into shooting yet, to be honest. We don't really know any news about Batman 2.
I feel like with all of the echoing around Penguin, I feel like with all the echoing around Penguin, we would know that there is shooting going on.
Well, I think Batman 2 is all but confirmed now. It's like the success of the show and everything.
Yeah.
But it's opened up the door for the third one, and that very much goes against how James Gunn and they're gonna do their universe.
Which is good. You know, screw James Gunn. His immediate, like, everything he's touched so far is a flop. His Swamp Thing like show was an absolute nightmare. I don't know if anyone watched it. Then you have
Something hasn't come out.
there's
Nothing of the DCEU has come out yet. The first thing that's gonna come out is the Superman movie.
Superman.
The only thing he's done,
the one with the boots,
the Suicide Squad movie,
the one with the boots. There's a Swamp Thing show or something on HBO Max. I thought Swamp Thing was going to be his first project, because I remember we were talking about his list, and that was like the first thing to come out. But
but after the success and how good the show is and how high praise it's gotten, people are more invested in the Matt Reeves Batman universe than they are in the upcoming James Gunn one.
You want to know what I predict? I'm throwing out a prediction. It's going to contradict a little bit of what we already know, but I'm throwing out a prediction. This show becomes so successful, or this show remains successful, and they get to this Batman sequel. They do that. The third Batman movie in this installment, James Gunn will take over. That's my or he'll be involved in some way. That's a prediction.
I hate that too, though. It would be a drastic change in atmosphere. And this is he has an involvement in it.
And this is just my prediction. I think that they've been very clear that they want Gunn to be the DC's the Messiah. And so the idea that there would be a project more successful than his, I think lends a little bit of credit to the idea that they will still want his name to be touching those projects. And so I do think they'll bring him in and be like, hey, you already know so much about the DC superheroes and supervillains. Now that we're going to our third and final act of the installment with the Batman movie trilogy here, I think we want to bring you in as someone who knows a lot about it to really make sure that this covers everything. And then
yeah. I mean, in my opinion, Warner Brothers is one of the dumbest companies on earth. So
the fact that I can't believe they are still around. I am so dumbfounded that they are still surviving.
They're only billions and billions of dollars in debt.
I know. It's like, how can you live with that much debt, America?
Yeah, owning that many IPs. They have the Lord of the Rings IP, they have Harry Potter, they have the DC universe, and you're still managing to fuck up everything.
You know what'll never happen, but would be a amazing move? If the Lord of the Rings IP got or was sold off to Angel Studios. I don't think they would have the budget to make a blockbuster like they've done in the past beyond the projects that they've made that have been successful. But I think the themes that you would have, I think the themes that exist in Tolkien's universe are identical to what Angel Studios wants to create.
The dude was a devout Catholic.
Exactly. So
I have more faith in handing it off to one person than I do a studio.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, we've given Elon Musk so much. I don't think he can also take on take on Lord of the Rings.
To Lord of the Rings.
He just buys the rights to Lord of the Rings for $500 billion.
Yeah, screw your trying to get humanity to Mars idea. Let's make a good Lord of the Rings movie.
Honestly, like that would be so cool. A good Lord of the Rings film is like due. Like we're so fucked on Lord of the Rings. Like War of the Rohirrim is gonna be so bad. It's a girl boss shit show anime that is gonna be a nightmare. Made up characters, a bad version of the story. I'm not excited for it.
Nerdrotic's seen it, and he says it's more upsetting and worse than Joker 2 is.
Oh, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm more excited for how they deal with Matt Reeves' Batman universe, based off the success and how good the Penguin was.
Right. Well, what do you want to? I mean, should we move on to Arcane 2 real quick? Because I mean, we could cover that.
We can talk about that real quick too.
Yeah.
Because everyone loved season 1.
Oh,
Season 1 is it's god tier. It's one of the best shows.
It's in my mind the best show that ever came out on Netflix. That's how much I'll lean into that suggestion. And that's I'm saying Act 1. Season 2 has only has like 3 episodes out right now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's season 2, Act 1, pretty much. Because they release 3 at a time, so it's Act 1, 2, 3.
Okay, cool. But yeah, Arcane really stepped out into the ether, and obviously you knew that they were coming from Riot Studios with the art style they were bringing from the trailers for League of Legends, and there was a lot of fan acclaim to that. Like a lot of people were really excited about that actually being done, because apparently the trailers were so good for League of Legends that people were like, why don't you just make a film or a short film or something? And they just never did until Arcane. And then Arcane kind of feels more like an origin story to everything rather than like a retelling of League of Legends or anything. Like that's my understanding, is that it's like a sub-story of the League of Legends universe.
I don't know the lore or anything about League of Legends. Well, one, it's not a narrative-driven game; it's a multiplayer game.
Right.
So, like, I'm not really sure how this all goes or anything, but I like the idea of Riot Studios or whatever. They're just like, why don't you give us a show about your insanely successful video game?
Yes, one of the biggest esport games.
I'm just gonna flop my dick on the table and make one of the greatest fucking animated series of all time.
Yeah, and it was. Jinx was an amazing character. So was Vi. I mean, you had those sisters were awesome. I can't remember what the father's name was, or what the adoptive father's name was.
The surrogate father, Vander.
Vander was awesome. He was like the really good Iroh mentor / guardian archetype. And
yeah, you just want a peace between Undercity and High Top or whatever. High Tower.
Exactly. And he was willing to sacrifice himself to pull that off. And and he did. It was beautiful. He was such a good.
I still get goosebumps rewatching episode 3 of the first season.
That was such a good episode. That was so powerful. The show itself is like a really good telling of this kind of like Tale of Two Cities setting, where you have these opposite factions who just don't understand each other, and yet they're trying to come to peace. And in the same time, you have phenomenal characters, just some of the best characters that have ever been created. You know, they had the the relationship with Vi and the police officer like was really good. Vi finding
Silco is still one of my favorite villains of all time.
oh, Silco's awesome. Yeah, there's not
So good.
is there a bad character? Because we could list off the good characters forever, but is there a bad character in this?
I'd say Echo's the weakest, but not bad.
Right, he just doesn't have enough. He just doesn't have enough development and enough story to really say one way or another. He is badass as shit with his like hoverboard and shit flying around. He's badass. That is pretty cool. I get serious Treasure Planet vibes when I see him fly into the ship battle. It's just cool, man. It's a space board or whatever, space surfboard. It's cool.
Yeah, it is weird how this show just came out of nowhere and ended up being just great.
Well, and I think the art
and then
style.
Also, it has like people would say it has like well, we don't even call it woke, even in like our sphere and whatnot. It has like a lesbian couple, 2 sisters are the main character, so it's very like feminine driven or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's not woke.
It's not like it's not like the women can do no wrong and the guys are all idiots. Like, right. Which would be typical of a story that was woke and driven like that. That would be
Everyone
typical.
feels like their own separate person.
Yeah.
They have their strengths and flaws and they fuck up and blah, blah, blah.
Like, the idea that you have movie critics who are just gonna absolutely shit on anything that has a female character or a diverse cast is absolutely falls on its face when you see the genuine love of good storytelling that exists in Arcane. Like, that argument just dies, like, it dies on its face when it comes to Arcane.
There was this one guy that was sending like a shit ton of super chats to geeks and gamers, basically telling them not to watch season 2 because it's so woke. I'm just like, dude, it's not.
I didn't think it would be.
I don't know where. Yeah.
I'd be surprised if it was. That would surprise me. I am one of the things you had seen the first.
Be surprised.
You've seen the first few episodes. So what is your take on it? I think you were kind of breaking it down for me earlier, but what is your take on the first? How are we starting off? How's season 2 starting off?
It's good. It's enjoyable. I did go back last night and watch the first 3 episodes of season 1.
So
and
good.
There's a vast contrast there when it comes to like character development and whatnot.
Right.
Because this one, I mean, you already have established characters, but it just seems to be flying by the seat of your pants, just going over events super quickly.
Well, and what I would kind of so I'll have to.
The last one ends with
like Jinx blowing
up the council.
Yeah. And so with the war started, I would kind of expect it to get like a lot to start happening all at once. I mean, there's no is there a time skip here, or does it pick up immediately right where it left off?
I mean, kind of like it's not the war yet in the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
But it does seem to like blow past some things, like. And maybe they get more character development in other episodes, but Vi and Kate, they have like a strike team, pretty much. And they seem very under-established.
Right, like kind of just like don't have the resources. They're kind of just lacking for intel and knowledge and just...
No, they're like, it just comes together very quickly and then gets disbanded. Very quickly to the point where it's like, why did we get introduced to these characters at all, kind of thing.
Sure. Well, maybe they're okay. So there's a few reasons why they could, but yeah, you'll have to see more episodes before that fleshes out.
Yeah. So maybe they flesh them out further later in the series,
right? Because
they're in it for all of 5 minutes of screen time.
Because Victor's character was like that, where he was kind of introduced, and you knew the relationship between him and Jace, but you didn't. I mean,
I'm very excited to see what they do with Victor.
Me too, but they didn't really. You didn't really get much information about Victor until much later in the season. So, I mean,
yeah,
doesn't mean they'll do it again.
Well, I mean, there were like 2 buddies that were like butting heads on the morality of their work,
right? While still respecting each other and working well together.
Yeah, well, Jace is the more like I would say like I wouldn't say morally gray, but he was more flexible.
Right.
I would say with it.
I would just
And
categorize him as an
it ki- it ki-
opportunist. I would just say he's an opportunist. Like whenever he,
opportunist with a good heart.
well, whenever he had the opportunity to advance a new project forward, he didn't really consider anything and just kind of did it. Like
He doesn't consider repercussions at all.
exactly. So
But
yeah, I think
yeah,
that's fair.
and that continues over into this season. I think it was. But anyway, there
Sorry.
are consequences. I'm trying to like piece it all together. There are consequences in the relationship, Victor's and Jace's, and I'm excited to see where Victor's goes because he. Don't want to spill it or not.
Yeah, hold off on spoilers. The news is
Yeah.
that season 2 of Arcane has started, and it sounds like it's going well. With a few things about like the way they're advancing the timeline and how aggressively they're aggressing the timeline and getting things accomplished quickly. So
That would be my only complaint is how aggressive it is. It's
Okay.
just-
then, all
Yeah.
right.
otherwise, I'd say it's good. It's not woke. There's no really worries. It's still good storytelling. They still got the banger of the some people would call overrated Imagine Dragons. I love Imagine Dragons.
I do too.
But every episode does start. Okay, so you got that intro with Imagine Dragons, and then there's also like a 3-minute like another music video after that, but it's setting up shit that's going on in the episode and whatnot.
Okay, so
So-
you're seeing characters and like doing things while the music's playing. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. It's odd, and I
Okay.
don't think I like it.
All right. I think we're going to have to wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Third Party Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing. Our goal is to reach 500 subscribers. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. And if you did, don't forget to smash the like button, share the video out there. Come tune in next week when we go over our review of Gladiator 2. It should be a fun conversation. Tune in this week. Tomorrow we have the Backrooms. We'll be going back for their new update. And we'll have regular content throughout the week, including Bannerlord content on Thursdays. So don't miss out on that. Thank you guys so much. We will see you guys on the next one. Go tell your stories, and peace out.